One. Hola, bonjour, and hello, everybody. You are listening to Worldwide Tea. It is the one and only podcast where every single week we recap everything going on in the international seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race. And as always, I'm Evan Sawdey from Pop Matters.
I am Gregory Ellwood from the playlist. How are you doing today, Evan? Happy New
Oh,
Year.
I'm do. Oh, happy New Year to you as well. I'm doing pretty okay. And also, I got to say that for anyone that's listening to us, obviously, thank you for joining with us in a brand new year. There's a lot of updates coming around here. I think we're going to be getting a Meet the Queens for UK versus the World soon.
Mm.
We keep getting preview images from Down Under versus the World. I'm not sure if they've shot anything or if they've just shot promo footage and they're just posting it all the time. But the one thing that Greg and I always say during every podcast is that the road to victory is always through these hallways. That's why we've spoken to so many winners, so many great people over here. And Greg, I'm not sure if I caught it out of the corner of my eye, but I believe on our official YouTube page, you just had a very
Oh
fascinating
yeah.
interview with some of our favorite drag queens in the world. Can you let us know a little bit about what just happened?
Yeah, and if I could get my act together, I'd send you the audio so we could put it up on our Spotify and
Spotify.
Apple podcasts. Yeah, I spoke to season 16 winner Nymphia Wind and All Stars 10 no 9
9. Yep.
9 robbed queen Plastique Tiara about their new Serpents tour, which is starting at the end of the
Yeah.
month. And they were a blast to talk to. They're super excited about it. And for those overseas who are listening to our podcast, their plan is to take it not just, I think, to Asia, but I think their goal is Europe as well. So I think they'll be announcing those dates sooner rather than later. But tickets are still available. And it seems like they are, as they said, there's never enough costume changes. There'll be backup dancers. There'll be all sorts of fun stuff. And I asked for some TikTok advice from
Hmm.
Plastique, and she basically said just don't overthink it, which is hilarious because no offense, like she literally you can tell thinks about all her TikToks
Hmm.
like they are staged Hollywood productions. So but I loved it. I thought it was great. It was super fun. They were in a great mood.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you asked the question. She's like, just post more. It's like,
And I'm
oh,
like,
okay.
you're not doing that though.
But either way, if you know anything about us, you know that in this House of Love, we believe that all drag is valid and no queen ever deserves online hate, even Ginger Minj. And as American entertainment journalists, we may not get every cultural reference, but we always appreciate corrections. And there's some truly great queens who aren't good at drag race, and we love them all the same. But even with all this versus stuff potentially coming down the pipeline,
Wait, we need to stop. We need to
oh,
stop, Evan. This is only 2 days, 3 days, 2 days after the season premiere of RuPaul's
oh,
Drag
yes,
Race,
yes.
season 18. And my number one question for you is, can you do the Discord Adams runway walk? Can you do that? It is sweeping the nation.
Nation.
You cannot, it's everywhere. You can't go online without seeing the Discord Adams runway walk.
I literally even saw a TikTok already of a horror movie where I'm being chased by Discord Adams and someone's doing the walk towards them and they're like, no. It's true. It's truly incredible. It is fascinating. Also, I love that. I'm not sure again, for those who are excited about season 18, please go back and listen to all of the interviews that Greg did with multiple of the
Yeah.
queens a couple episodes ago, which is fantastic. And I love that Darlene Mitchell just flat out says like, "Yep, I used to perform under trash. That's what I used to do," and like just said it there, and it made the edit. And I thought like, okay, cool. It was a delightful. Cardi B was a delight. It's weird because like it felt like a very like smaller premiere app. I feel like they've gone bigger and bigger, and this kind of felt like a little
Huh.
bit more of a constrained thing. But overall, it was good. I thought the Bob and Raja stuff was just so stupid. They did not need to do that. But like, anyways,
But you know what? If that's the only way, listen, if that's the only way to get kimchi back on Drag Race outside
listen,
of a holiday special, I'll take it. I'll take
I will
kimchi
absolutely take
pretending
it.
to kimchi pretending to be
Yeah.
a stationary bike.
Also,
But
Athena's going to be the narrator of the season. Rest assured, or at least that's how they're setting her up. It's weird because like her confessional vibe just gives me Ariel Versace, but like mature. Like it's just so wild. I'm very excited for it. What?
I someone else said that they thought it was on the pit stop.
Uh-huh.
That Plastique thought she looked like Ariel Versace, and I you can just where somewhere in Miami, like there was an earthquake of Athena being like, "You compare me to Ariel Versace." I will say this: Athena Dion will 100% be a pit stop, no matter what happens to her run on
Hmm.
this season. She'll be on the
Hmm.
pit stop next year because she can talk.
Yeah.
She will be a queen.
And I'm
But
happy about it. Yes.
speaking of queens that can talk and can create drama, because and boy, we know, it's time. We've only got 3 episodes left of Canada's Drag Race, Evan. Season six.
Yes. Season
So
6,
many
episode
seasons.
7.
As you can tell, I'm fighting off a bug today for anyone listening or watching. So, but we're gonna get through it. They come back into the workroom. We have lost our dear. I don't even know who left. Evan, who left last week?
We lost 2 queens last week,
Oh my
Greg.
God, that's right.
We lost Maya Fox, and we lost Velma Jones, and they each had mirror messages up for us to read. And PM very gracefully read through them and then immediately wiped them up. I think the thing for me is that the entire them coming back into the workroom and then the very following day, it's Van Goth and Saltina rehashing this whole beef of Saltina saying that I think Velma should have been saved, and it just gets so boring. Van Goth is here talking about how, hey, I don't like being vulnerable. What did you think about all of this, Greg?
To be honest, I was gonna save it. There's a moment towards the end where Van Goth, who, by the way, Van Goth, I know we're your favorite podcast. You must love us like more than anyone else. So I sort of like, and I got to be honest, Van Goth, if you're listening to this, all those comments you made makes me not want to talk about the show or you. Like, it really sort of pissed me off. Like, you really like, I don't know what's going on with you, but to like just keep coming in our comments and comment, like, we're just appreciating the show. You said what you said. Like, we're only commentating on it. We have no stakeholders here. We're not making money. um,
Hmm.
my take was later on, she says something about like getting revenge or something on Saltina, and I literally had to go back and be like, wait, was Van Gogh in the bottom and like Santina didn't save her or something? And that never happened. Like, I don't understand what this revenge line was that she said later on. Do you remember that? That's like later on when they're in the workroom.
Right, exactly. That comes up a little bit later
So
on. Yes.
I don't understand this whole narrative of it, but I did like the episode. But besides all that, like I thought it was, fun and cool, and I still don't understand who this guest judge was, but he has a wonderful jawline.
Yes, he does. Unquestionably. But
Um,
yeah, it's
but I
fascinating.
mean, this whole thing were so like Saltina says and by the way, we had some video issues and audio issues. We
Mm.
apologize if I'm rehashing what Evan already said. But when Saltina says that it was hurtful being called a hypocrite and she was trying to make it for, I mean, I sort of was like, I feel like I'm on the only one on Saltina Island out of everyone I know. Like, I sort of feel bad for her. I feel like she's, all my friends are like, thank God they're not Saltina fans at all. They don't get, yeah, I don't even. Boy, what I got Friday night watching U.S. Drag Race from my friends who watch Canada, just ripping on Saltina. Um,
Damn.
but
Okay.
yeah, I didn't know that either. But I did think Saltina was being sympathetic, and I think sometimes Van Goth, as acting on the show when she recorded the show in context, as though it's a game until it hurts her, and then it's not a game. And I find that frustrating for someone who
Hmm.
is sort of playing as though I'm above all of you, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, the one and only Evan, the one and only Saren Fox comes in to the workroom, and we are doing a mini challenge that was quite confusing at first because
Yes.
Saren says she has her own fragrance. And I'm like, wait, they're giving her a commercial for her own
I
fragrance.
was about
Did
to
you not?
say, I know. I was excited for a second, to
I
be
was
real.
like, all right, first of all, free
Yeah.
promo.
Yeah.
And then that's not what it is. But it appears they got more than 15 minutes to do pseudo quick drag.
Hmm.
But the promo is them lying on a what's it called? It's not a
A
couch,
Shea
it's a
Lounge.
day
Yeah.
lounge. Thank you.
Yeah.
And this was actually the fun part about it. I love this idea. They should do this on US and other seasons.
Hmm. Hmm.
They are given cue cards and have to do it live, and they have They're not getting a chance to do it again. It's first
Hmm.
time, first time. Which,
Hmm.
by the way, is very live television production. I thought it is what the job could be, and it was sort of fun. I don't think it was as necessarily funny as the producers were hoping, but they stumbled and it's hard and they put in funny words. And then they also were all wearing the same black short like little robes. Like they were all looking like they were,
Hmm.
in their boudoir, like, getting ready for whatever with their beautiful little perfume. What did you think of this? And did you really? I did not think Sammy looked like the effing mess that she said she did. What did you think?
I didn't think so either, but man, I could watch Sammy Landry attempt to read words all day. That's what I could do. The Viscountess, like just it was a pretty good delight. I do remember they did a challenge in season 11 that was very similar when they all had to do a Rachel Maddow kind of thing and read from a live teleprompter. But like for the
Yes.
most part, like it's still nice to have that kind of live feeling in the room. Some people really sold it. Some PM really took the don't do anything unless the stage directions tell you to, and like was in the lounge the whole time. She was doing the assignment. Other people were a little bit more flowy with it, but it was stupid. I mean, I think as we learned with this and with France and with Philippines, the best mini challenges are the insanely stupid ones. Like those are the times when I
Yeah.
get the most entertainment value out of it. Ultimately, who won this challenge, Greg?
Well, not only did they win, they let us knew they won, and it was the first thing they ever won, which was PM, who freaks out like my Lord heavens. They won their first challenge and they won $2,500 courtesy of Safer Six, which I think is a health company in Canada. I'm not sure, but I'm
Yeah.
happy for them. And then they find out that this week is actually sort of a ball. It's two runways. It's not really a ball. I guess
Hmm.
a ball would be three
Right.
looks. But they are going to Paris, Ontario Fashion Week, not Paris Fashion Week. And
Hmm.
the first category is closing the show, or they will be doing a design challenge closing the show. And the gag, and they do seem genuinely surprised about this, is that it's not for them. They are bringing back last season's super popular, probably the best thing of last season, the designing for Brooke Lynn Hytes, a design challenge, and they were all super excited about it. Evan, what were your thoughts about this? I mean, you knew it before you saw the episode, but what were your thoughts on how they set it
Yeah.
up? And
Well, my biggest thing is that I needed to know for a fact, did they do the same thing that they did last season, which was bring in Suki Doll to give them advice and maybe even help them a little bit with some of the challenge? And Greg, they absolutely did. They
yeah.
absolutely brought back Suki Doll, looking fantastic, by the way. I don't know where
Oh
this
yeah.
happened in terms of filming versus this and her Slation Royale run. But she just looked incredible, and it was the thing that made me probably the most happy out of anything, just because it gave everyone a bit more of an even keel, and especially with queens like PM, who very clearly struggled last time they were in a design challenge,
Yeah.
it gave them a little bit more of a level playing field to do with. And I love that kind of balancing factor. It really comes down to taste and skill at that point, and not just
So
like I can or can't snow. Yeah,
here's
yeah,
the thing. I'm not
yeah.
really sure it was a balancing factor uh when Suki is literally like putting the sewing like thread in the sewing machine for queens who don't know how to use sewing machines. I felt like it was a little too much help. Like I get they gave her she got 10 minutes with everybody. They could ask whatever they needed and whatever. But there is no way Ebony is not in the bottom unless Suki came in and helped them. Like hands like Suki basically showed her how to do every single part of that like
Hmm.
tool. Like she didn't know
Hmm.
how to do it before then. It was only an idea. So
Right.
it would have been a hot glue gun mess. And hey, it's her 10 minutes. She got it. And listen, Van Goth wasn't helping her. Like, so
Girl.
don't get me started on all that.
Yeah.
But I would say, you know what? I just figured out in my head. I think they had actually already done. So I think she'd come back from Salation Royale. So
Hmm.
I'm because that was pretty. Remember that was like February when Jiggly died, and I think they shoot this in March and April. So they would have been. She
Okay.
would have been back.
Okay.
So but I mean,
A little
my only
disappointing she didn't get to help out Star Doll, but one thing after. Small factors. Yeah.
mm,
I know.
But I did think that we should also say Brooke Lynn came in, and Brooke Lynn also gives some feedback on some of like the ideas. She did not like Sammy's idea of doing a leopard print
Leopard
tutu,
print tutu.
which to be honest, I sort of liked, depending. I didn't know what the tutu was going to be. Um,
Right.
there's something going on, especially with this and what Athena Dion did uh,
18.
on 18, where a tutu is not a round hoop skirt. Like
Right.
it should be tulle. Like,
Right.
so I'm a little confused on what queens think a tutu is. But that was really interesting. And I also my only other take from all of these walkthroughs was, and maybe she was just playing for the camera. How did Caramel not know that wasn't see-through fabric? Like, come on, girl, it's in your hand. You can see your hand on the other side of it. Like, please.
Oh.
Anyway, but
I love, I love, I love that when Ebony and Caramel were up at the table, they're like, "We thought we dodged the design challenge." I'm like, "Girl, what program do you think this is? One design challenge in a season? They fill the episodes. You could have more than
yeah,
one. It could be season 3. You could have 4. You got to be ready
yeah,
just in case that
yeah, yeah.
happens. Like, come on."
Um,
Saltina, of course, was worried that her look was going to be too Comic Con, and I don't know. The thing is that like I've complained to other people about Saltina, and I think that like it's the one thing about her is that like I don't fully get her aesthetic. Like I do get she's a little bit more of a rocker chick energy. Like that's kind of the vibe that I get. But
mhm,
outside of a very distinctive mug, which we talked about in our end of year wrap
mhm.
up, the Worldwide Tea Awards, it's the thing where like she has a little bit more of kind of a rocker showgirl energy to it. So when she was doing a dress that had horn spikes on the shoulders and the sides, it kind of made sense to me. Like I know she was worried about it being too supervillain, but I don't know. It kind of felt like she was doing her aesthetic pretty well. I thought it might actually look pretty good on Brooklyn. What I wasn't sure where you thought her initial draft was landing.
I thought her initial draft looked like she was going to be safe, so I was sort of
Yeah.
like surprised.
Mhm.
We'll find out what happened later on, but I was still like, okay, this is really interesting. But more intriguing, and you called it. We have our permanent judges and our guest judge showing up on the runway, and Brooke, and they are all serving, Evan. They all
Mhm.
look great. Tracy Melcher, Tracy, you and your stylist, whoever you hired, whatever fag you got in Toronto to help you, like you look fucking great. Tracy, the next time I see you, you are getting a bow from me. You killed it.
Mhm.
And I loved Saren's look this week. I thought it looked
Yeah.
very cool. I really liked it. And Brooklyn's look, I feel like that's Utica, or it's Utica or Suki. I
Right.
need to double
Right.
check. I
Yeah.
should check now. But I loved that look. That was one of my favorite looks of hers of the season. Let's see who it was really quick. I feel like
Live research. And then
sorry
also
guys.
for those who aren't aware, Airdem was the other guest judge that came up there. Airdem, they apparently are a stylist for the stars. That's kind of their claim to fame. My husband didn't like that I started calling him Brad Gorleski, but that is just me. But overall, Erdem, with his big nerd boy energy, was there, ready to roll, and provide some fashion-esque critiques. What did we find out, Greg?
And this is a Suki Doll look. It's a
Oh,
Suki Doll look,
dang!
and it's gorgeous. Actually, well, I like outside. I mean, I wish she brought this with her to Slays Royale. I like this.
Ova!
Love it.
Ova! Yeah.
But yeah, so he's a fashion designer with 30,000 followers. That's all I remember looking up for our guest judge. And I'm like, still, I don't understand who they didn't know who he was. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's like a talking head on Canadian television. Someone let us know in the comments. Please let
Yeah.
us know. He
Van
was
Goth,
very
tell us who
handsome,
Erdem is in the
but
comments, if you would
also he was
please.
very handsome, but he was also nervous about being there. He wouldn't walk down. Did you not catch that? He didn't walk down the runway. He
Right?
like came
Yeah.
and did a I've never seen that ever once. Like I'm like, all right. Usually I visited the set of US Drag Race
Right.
and walked down the
Yeah.
runway, took a photo. It's not that scary. Like, come on. I wouldn't have
I'm
worn
just
the
so
shirt I wore,
intimidated.
but anyway. Um,
Yeah.
so we get the first looks, Evan,
Hmm.
and it is their hold on a second.
Paris, spring and
Their
summer.
spring and summer. So I don't really understand 100% what the prompt was this for this. I feel like the queens sort of interpreted different ways. I don't know if they realized it was supposed to be as fashion or it was supposed to be spring. Did you get that, or what did you think the prompt meant?
Yeah, that's they kept talking about how it was Fashion Week, even though it was Paris, Ontario. So I was getting like some sort of couture thing, and spring themed couture was kind of what they were aiming for, roughly, approximately.
Yeah.
Now the efficacy of that is a whole different thing. In fact, let's go through it, Greg. Let's see
And
what the
I'm
cat
just
tried
gonna
out.
spoil. I thought these were all terrible. Like I did
I
not
know.
I was not a fan. So Sammy comes out and it's this pink number that is as Brooklyn later says, it's probably the most couture thing, or maybe Brooklyn didn't say that, Tracy did, or one of the guest judges did,
Hmm.
that it was one of the more couture looks on the runway. I would have loved it if it didn't have this goddamn frizz bullshit like all over furry. I do not understand. I get
Like it
it.
was almost
She
like
was
cotton
trying,
candy-esque. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, she was trying to do spring. She was trying to do like, but it ruined the look. If it would have just been clean, you still would have gotten spring from it. It still would have looked pink and beautiful and whatever. I wasn't a fan. What did you think?
It was fine. Like I didn't hate it. I think going for the feather duster motif, it makes sense with her worldview and perspective. I totally get it. Yeah, I thought it was okay. Like again, there was a couple of elements there. I still at least love that the ripple pants all the way went down to the boots. I thought that was a nice
Yeah.
element, but like overall, like pretty good. Still that drag clown aesthetic, just maybe not refined enough for me personally.
Up next was Van Goth, and she basically did a face kini spring sort of. It was a little British inspired. It felt.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting his name. He's the famous British genderqueer artist. I just saw his show in London. He's been referenced many times on Drag Race, and I'm just blanking. But anyway, I mean, actually, I have a fucking poster right here.
We're pulling up the poster
Pulling up the
live on act.
poster. At the Tate, who was it? It's Lee Bowery.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
yes, she's doing a little bit of Lee Bowery, and I thought it was okay. I didn't love the print, like, but that was just my aesthetic. I'm sure Van Gogh will take it very personally if you're listening. What did you think of this look?
Listen, Van Goth, I think, will forever be known as a contentious figure within Canada's Drag Race history. I liked it. I'm sorry. I hate to
Oh, I'm
say,
glad
I
you loved
really
it.
did.
Yay!
It was so like again, having that wig, having that kind of 50s vibe, and then the psychedelic element that's added onto it. It is like a housewife on bath salts was kind of the sense that I got. Like it had a lovely thing. I do wish there's a little bit more detail on the dress. I don't like how the leggings and the boots kind of like stop and the colors suddenly shift. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there could have been more continuing, but that's nitpicking. The effect of this faceless, almost mannequin-esque person coming down the runway, I thought was good. I was like, listen, when she hits, and I thought she hit with this personally.
So up next was Saltina Shaker, and I hated this. This flower, this, a lot. I've actually I've been on Saltina Island. I thought a lot of her looks were really good. I know some people have thought they looked too costumey or cheap, and we've thought that for a bunch of their looks, but I thought in general her looks were good. This was one of the first ones where I went, this looks cheap. It's not cheap. She spent money on this,
Hmm.
but as when we got to the critiques, the only nice thing they could say about it was her green stemmed ponytail in
Like
the
pony,
back.
yeah, that dragged down, yeah.
I just thought the color, it was purple and black and what, it didn't give spring at all to me. What did you think of this look?
Listen, I thought Kelly Mantle did a great job. I don't know what you're
Oh,
talking about. I thought that I got bacon. It was just a mess. The
oh
thing is that
yeah.
like it was almost like a glove hand wrapping around like her body, but then she had
Mhm.
these like rope lace shoes that didn't go with the look at all. Like everything, like black shoes would have been a strappy black sandal would have been helpful here. It just didn't work. It wasn't the worst look I've ever seen. It just felt she would may have won if this is what she made in the workroom, but no, this is what she brought with her, and I think that's kind of like where the aesthetic difference rests. Yeah.
Absolutely. Up next was caramel. And so here's the thing. I loved this idea. I thought the idea was great.
Yeah.
I did. I love the idea, but
Hmm.
she's in this red sort of, it's not tulle, but it's a puffed out sort of, it's supposed to be a
Ruche.
carnation around
Yeah.
her. and it's too small. The proportions are off. It needed to be bigger. It needed to be like 50% bigger, and then it would have been awesome. It would have been such a cool look. And I don't know how they misjudged it or her designer misjudged it because I know she makes some of her looks and she
Yeah,
commissioned
yeah.
others. Um but I loved the idea. I thought it was like, oh, for her package would have been great at the beginning and it's had very big ups and downs. This could have been like, but yeah, I was sort of disappointed. What did you think?
This was terrible. This was flat out terrible. Like when you're just wearing just basically a black bodysuit for the most part, and then like the entire like bottom half, the crotchet patties, there's just nothing. There's just this thing wrapping up around your leg. It looked cheap. It looked costumey. And the idea was there. And like, sure, the bellhop hat was also insane. I thought it was almost like, oh, this is an apple, and there's a snake emerging out of it. Like I was getting more almost Adam and Eve instead of carnation and pollination, but it just felt cheap. Like I'm sorry. Like it just the focal point being here and then almost having nothing else from like the hips down, I thought was a bold choice, and I did not think it worked in her favor.
I do have to say it is a stretch for Paris Fashion Week or spring. And I think the judges sort of gave her a pass on that part because her Brooklyn look was so good.
Yeah.
But up next, it is time for the queens to come out in their Brooklyn looks. And this was pretty good. Oh, wait, you have a thought. Did I miss someone?
PM and Ebony.
Oh, geez. I did because I wrote caramel twice.
It's
Oh, boy. Sorry, guys.
okay.
I am so sick today. I'm fighting through
We
this like
like
you have no idea.
everyone put some hearts in the comments for
Sorry,
Greg.
yeah,
He's gonna
it's
get
all
well
good.
soon, I promise. I swear.
So, anyway, PM is up next, and I loved the idea of this. I thought it was one of the more interesting things she brought to the competition.
100%.
And it was definitely drag. People have been complaining she's
Hmm.
been doing too much gender queer, and not enough drag. Um, I just thought the floating skirt was too low. Like, I wish it was at her knees or like more at her calf, but it was so at times hitting the floor and hitting her shoes. It was just too low. And I felt like it
Mm,
was a distraction as opposed to part of the look. And I don't think
mm.
that's what she or the designer intended. And maybe she's wearing different shoes than she thought she was going to wear. I don't know. But the rest of it was interesting. Um, what did you think of PM's look?
I was so fascinated by this, Greg. I really was. Like the floating dress illusion, you cannot see the string. The camera did not pick up
Yeah,
fishing wire.
it had to get really close when they were on the runway later, just doing critiques to even pick it up for a second.
Exactly. It was so effective. And therefore, like having the plain solid color for the bodice, I thought was bold. And I thought, like, should you add a little
Yeah,
bit more details? But it really kind of made
no.
it about it. And so when you have that, you have the pink feathery things going on in the background. It was very effective. It was maybe her most fashion moment that I had. And I was
Yeah.
low key kind of impressed. In a way I wasn't expecting. It didn't wow you out the gate, but the details were subtle and kind of beautiful. And yeah, I really liked it, truly.
I mean, to be honest, if the floating skirt was higher and it was in a runway show, people would have been impressed. If it was just coming down a regular, clean,
Hmm.
white runway, with maybe a white backdrop, it would have really popped. On the drag race stage, you probably heard it a little bit. We've talked about that
Hmm.
many times, but I agree with you. It was really good. Last but not least was Ebony, and I have to say, out of all the looks on this part of the runway, I thought this was the most like solid, safe, like hard to critique anything really about it. Maybe the coat didn't go 100% with the dress, but the dress was fashion. It was spring and summer. It looked great on her. And it wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't like, something that we'll remember years on down the road, but it looked great. And that was my sort of take on Ebony's sort of flowery look. What did you think?
It was weird because I thought the coat was good. I thought the dress with all the different flower petals kind of fading down. I also thought that was good. And the thing is, in conversation with each other, it felt like two B plus kind of outfits made a B.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't really know how to say like in theory they should have harmonized a little bit together well, but for me it just kind of like there was just something discordant. They felt like slightly not in full parallel with each other. It was hard to say. Overall, though, if you're talking about Paris summer, spring look, this is the most effective runway. But most importantly, her mug and her wig were incredible choices. I thought she looked fantastic in the face region. It was pretty solid. It just wasn't the knockout I was expecting, but it was still solid. That's kind of how I landed on it.
Oh no, I think I liked it more than you, but I realized it was not like top two to the week sort of look that
Right. Yeah.
anyone that Raja and Raven would ever nuts for. But I just thought, considering how disappointed I was overall with this part of the runway, that was my take. But I was not disappointed in the looks they made for Brooke Lynn Hytes.
Let's
Up
do it.
first was Sammy Landry's look, and Evan, I liked it. It looks clean. I was impressed because I didn't think Sammy was actually a designer. And I loved the hips. She had this great sort of flaring hips look to it,
Hmm.
and the sort of a sash to the right. I thought it was great. I even Sammy saying while Brooklyn's wearing it, we have a little nip slip. I think because the bodice 100% didn't fit, but you don't know that because also we got to remember, guys, they're not getting to fit this on Brooke Lynn. They're creating it in the workroom and they go behind the scenes and Brooke Lynn works with someone else to make it work on her. Um, so I feel like you always have to take that into account that if they'd had time to really adjust it to her, like on Project Runway or something, all these
Hmm.
looks could have looked better. But what did you think of Sammy's look?
I think that when it comes down to the design challenges, sometimes half of what makes it effective, and we saw this in season 18 that just premiered just right now, is fabric choice. I think sometimes
Mhm.
like the fabric can do a lot of the work for you if it's effective. We saw this a little bit with Juicy Love Dion's look. And here there is nothing more Sammy Landry than a red leopard print kind of like it was her aesthetic to a T. It was the perfect category for her in that sense too. The look was solid and simple and effective. Like is the thing where I was also a little bit annoyed by the nip slip too. But again, if they didn't get a chance to try it, you can't really factor that in. Other queens kind of put some pasties on there in advance to try and overcome that issue. But overall, like it was solid. It was better than I expected from Sammy, and so therefore I was left a little bit impressed overall.
Yeah, absolutely. So up next was Brooklyn wearing Van Gogh. And I'll say this. I didn't love the pearls. I didn't think it was
Hmm.
necessary, but the rest of it is incredibly made, incredibly sewn and crafted together. I was genuinely impressed with all of it. And it was easy win. Like you knew the
Hmm.
second Brooklyn wore this that Van Gogh was winning. They were telegraphing it in the edit anyway, but like
Hmm.
you knew she was going to win because of this, and it was fantastic. And I genuinely impressed. What did you think?
Exactly the same. It's the kind of thing where, as much as she is a polarizing personality, there are some challenges where it's just like, I got to give you the win. Like, I just can't look at any other way around it. It looked like something that she brought, that a designer already worked on instead of something that she made in the workroom. Just opulent, Victorian, and honestly, Brooke, as always, wore it well. She knew the aesthetic for each outfit she was trying to go with, and yeah, just easy win, flat out. I fully agree.
Um, Following up was not as incredible a look. Is Brooklyn wearing Saltina? And my first comment was, "Oh no, it's a mess."
Oh,
Here's the thing: we've seen worse. We've
yes, we
seen
have.
worse crafted looks. Let's make this very clear. I think what I am so curious about is Saltina had a really interesting look that she showed in the workroom that she
Hmm.
showed Brooklyn and Suki, and she gave up on it because, as she tells us later on during critiques, she did not think she had the skills or time to finish it in time. And part of
Hmm.
me wishes she tried
Yeah.
because there's clearly time and effort that went into this. This was not 30 minutes. This was not like I would have kept, if I were her, I would have kept trying to make the other look. And maybe it wouldn't have been finished, but it might have been parts of it could have been cleaner. And this just looked like a mock-up that you're making in like a fashion class to do something else. And she's trying to sell it. She's doing her voiceover and trying to say, I get it, I love it, but I'm happy with what it is. And you see the ideas in it, but it's
Hmm.
just um so shoddily put together, and she knows how to sew. So this was weird. What
Even
did
more
you think?
shocking.
Yeah,
There was a quote when she started walking down the runway, Saltina from the peanut gallery said, "It's not as bad as I thought," which is always a great indicator. But, like when it comes to designing, there's a lot of different techniques. There's ruching, there's sculptural work you can do. And I think I would call this crumples. I would call it crumples, is what it would be. She just crumpled some stuff up together. She at least had the foresight to put some nipple pasties on Brooke. So I'll give her credit for that because the
yeah.
nipples do be nippling. But overall, it was just bad, so we don't have to spend a lot more time on it.
You know
Yeah,
what I also wrote? I also wrote needed another 12 hours, like that much time to like
yeah,
fix it or whatever.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, Saltina girl, you're in trouble. But up next is Brooklyn wearing caramel. And I thought this looked great. I thought this was very good. I thought Caramel did a really good job. What did you think of this look?
Same, perfect fabric choice. Again, simple and elegant if done effectively can stun, and that's exactly what this did. This is a nightgown. There's just a little light tuft of feathering right at the top was amazing. It wasn't until the critiques that they actually pointed out that there's a little bit more of a kind of a bulging area in the crotch
Yeah,
region, which it did not read on camera because when you go
because
straight black,
black and
exactly.
on those drag race runways, if you, I mean, she was sort of smart to pick black. She probably didn't think it at the time, but in
Right.
hindsight, if you're doing a design challenge, do black and some sparkles because it'll get you. Yeah. But you're
Absolutely.
right. That rouging, and even then, I also felt like Brooklyn is insanely fair. I'm not saying she wasn't fair.
Yeah.
She was trying to be critical of every single person because she did feel that not every single look was perfect. And
Right.
I appreciated that. And so she was just trying to point out something tough about it.
Hmm.
But also, I wish, like, that's a look I would rather see Caramel wear that than some of her other looks. Like, it's a gown. It's in theory
Right.
close to a pageant gown, but like, I would love to see her wear something like that. Um, Okay. And then up next was Brooklyn wearing PM. So here's the thing. I get what PM was doing. Again, this is not a tutu to me. This is a big hoop skirt thing. What's weird is when I first looked at it, it looked like I thought she spray painted it on it, and it wasn't. It's just how she
Hmm.
wrapped the fabric through it. It just looked a little messy. It didn't look as clean as PM wanted it to. The idea was there, and it's
Hmm.
much better than what she did in the first design
Yes, it
challenge.
was. Yes,
But
it
I didn't
fucking
think it
was.
was safe in any way. What did you think?
I thought it was teetering towards safe. Here's what really took me out was the arm, the wraparound of tulle on the arm that just didn't need to happen. Like it just she had a whooshy thing that just was disconnected from the rest of the piece. But overall, like this black to pink kind of like aesthetic, like okay, I can see what you're doing there. It's just the structure of the skirt itself. It just was too hoopy. It was too rigid. It was like it went too far in one direction. If it came down a little bit further, if it was a little bit narrower, maybe something could have happened there. But overall, again, as you pointed out, what is tutu? It sure as hell ain't a circus big top that your legs are under. And to her credit, Brooklyn tried to do a little bit of ballerina work in there to really show it off. But like, it wasn't a total disaster, but we also knew it wasn't going to be in the top this week. So it was just an almost like PM. I love that you came in here with a little bit more confidence this challenge, and glad Suki helped you out a little bit. It just didn't cross that finish line. Still better than Saltina Shaker's look. I'll say that much.
Yes, understatement. Um,
Yeah.
and then last but not least was the queen they edit had teased was going to be horrible and terrible. Was Brooklyn wearing ebony, and thanks to Suki's help, the tool looks great. It looks great from the front. And not
Hmm.
great. It looks really good and safe from the front. And then
Hmm.
she turns around to the back and you're like, oh boy, like that's not so great. But I will say if this was a design challenge of like 8 queens, 10 queens, she probably have been easy safe. Like she probably not wouldn't have even been on the runway. They probably would have just with that in her first look, they would have been like, you're safe. But there's only 6 queens left. So, Evan, any other thoughts on this tool extravaganza from Ebony?
It it's okay. Like again, like in any other world, I think would be like this is solid. It doesn't have a wow factor to it, but it was not the knockout that it needed to be for her. So Yeah, I all I'll say is that I was worried this whole episode for both Ebony and PM because of the curses of someone wins something, then goes home, and then the other
Hmm.
curse of someone wins the mini challenge and then goes home that same episode too. We had a couple different factors going in, so when I realized that neither of them were in the top, I was like, oh no, this seems like the fate might be rolling out for them, but there's still more
Mm.
to go.
Still more to go, and but there's breaking news, Evan. We have breaking news. Please tell our listeners, our viewers, what is the oh no? They've hinted at it the entire episode, but it doesn't matter because
The golden beaver has left the building. It is no longer here. And it's interesting that they decided to announce that right then and there instead of earlier in the episode, but I like it as a little bit of a fun little element there. It's traditional drag race rules from here on out, baby. That's what's happening. So you're in the top, you're in the bottom, and the judges got to decide. Greg, who are our tops and bottoms for the week in case it's not abundantly clear already?
well, I guess we're skipping all the critiques, which is
Oh,
fine. We don't
unless
have to.
there's
I
anything
mean,
there you wanted to really point out.
no, I
Yeah.
mean, I was just gonna say that I thought that uh I thought Tracy had really good critiques and was super kind. And Brooke Lynn was a little tough. She did say she was super impressed by Van Gogh, but even for that look, she said she wished the skirt was a tad longer. And I think because the top is so good, I think nobody's eye went and saw that. Um, and I also thought that Brooke was a little tough on Ebony for the back of that dress. Like she really harped
Hmm.
on it a little bit. And they all were really Brooke Lynn was really surprised by Karen Milk's look. She was very impressed.
We all
And
were.
I thought that
Absolutely.
really popped. But
Also, when she talked about PM's look, she talked about how she was already in a corset and then was in an additional corset on top of that. So she was basically double corseted for that, which sounds insane and also sounds deeply unpleasant to wear. I know
I was about to
our
say,
celebrities, yeah.
it sounds painful. Doesn't
Hmm.
sound fun. And perhaps that's why she was also in the bottom. But you are correct. It's very clear when they go into the workroom who's in the top, and they all sit down and talk about it. Then Goth, Carrie Milk, and Sammy know they're safe. They know they have a shot to win. Um, Saltina has a very self-aware moment where she talks about how she's really happy with her growth this season over the few weeks she's been there, and that she was happy with her vision. She seems to genuinely be saying that this is how she feels. It doesn't feel like a put on. It doesn't feel like she's playing to the cameras. And then again, this line where they cut to confessional, and Van Gogh sort of like is happy to have revenge on Saltina, and I don't understand where this comes from. I don't really get it. Um,
She's
but
just pissed off that Saltina was even going to consider giving the Golden Beaver, which she didn't even have, to someone else.
Yeah,
That her rubric for deciding, oh, I want to beat the best came to my friend is hurting and I want to sympathize in that moment. And so this was her, ooh, ah, gotcha kind of thing of, success is the best revenge. That's the sense that I got from
and
that.
then Ebony is so this is the first time Ebony's been low. She's either
Hmm.
been high, one, or safe. And she's you can see it on the second they sit in the workroom, you can see it on her face. Like
Hmm.
she clearly was like, I'm going to get to the end. I might be lip syncing for my life. And by the way, she is an amazing lip syncer. But
Hmm.
I think in her mind she's doing, if I'm in the bottom, can I win this season if Van Gogh hasn't been in the bottom? And I'm sure that's like just going in her mind, because
Right.
clearly that they're the two that are potentially going to win the season based on track record. And then, but all she really says though is that it's a lot. She just says it's a lot, and she's just taking it all in. Um, did you have any other takes from the workroom besides the fact that no one thought Saltina was lip syncing? They all thought it was Caramel versus PM or Ebony
Oh,
versus
no,
PM, and
Ebony versus PM. Yeah.
I was like, wait, what have I missed? Like,
It was It was very, very odd, I will say. That it was not great that I'm sure PM didn't feel great that everyone had called out them as like, oh, you're definitely going to be lip syncing. But that said, PM had been pressed about this in the week prior, but PM was not pressed this time. PM was still like,
no,
I'm here, performing is what I do, and y'all are going to see it. And I'm like, okay,
you
well,
you know. You know why, Evan? Because
Why?
I think in PM she went back to her hotel room during this one of these nights. She's like, I'm annoying on this season, but Saltina's even more annoying, and I'm gonna stay. They're gonna find a way to get me to stay because I'm not driving people crazy in this workroom like Saltina is. And I'm not saying that's part of what happened, but I
Hmm.
might be saying that's a little part of what happened. But they come back on in the workroom, and we find out that Sammy Landry is, no surprise, high, safe. Like she's the first one to get the high. And then it's between Caramilk and Van Goth for the win. Caramilk, congratulations, you have a high. But Van Goth wins. It's her third win. And she wins a luxury vacation for two in the Dominican Republic. And I love that. That's a fun, I take
Yeah.
that in a hot minute.
Not in Spain, not in one of the many
No,
hotels in
not
Spain.
not in
Oh, all right.
Teleminos or
Not
whatever it is.
how dare.
One of those hotels. Um, and then we have the bottom three, and much to her relief, because it means she's never had to lip sync for her life. Ebony is safe, and it's Saltina versus PM, and Saltina is very confident. She's not pressed. She doesn't seem upset at all. Um, and is this her second bottom? Is this Saltina's second,
I
or she
believe it
never
was her
been?
second. I don't think she's ever lip sync formal, but she has been in the bottom three, if I'm not mistaken.
But this is PM's third lip
Third,
sync.
third bottom two
Hmm.
lip sync, yes.
Okay.
The
One
Alexandra
other
de Reval of Canada.
clearly. The only other thing is that Saltina gives a hug to Ebony away, and PM gives this very awkward kiss on Ebony's arm. It's so awkward. Like her arms out like this, and PM just grabbed. I'm like, what? Okay, you guys are all crazy. Um, and listen, I grumbled over this when they announced what the lip sync song was. But hey, the budget went to last week to the lip sync slay off. It's
Hmm.
okay. You got to put the budget somewhere. This week's lip sync song is "I'm a Star" by Priyanka. Evan, have you heard this song before?
No, I have not. But this is the third time they've done a Priyanka song on Canada's Drag Race. So we are going through the Priyanka archives at this point. We're hitting all the hits.
And this
Uh,
is why Priyanka thinks she doesn't need to be on All Winners because she's a star, baby. She's above all this. Uh, What did you think of this lip sync between Saltina and PM? Because I have thoughts, but I want to hear yours first.
Overall, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. And obviously, Saltina did good enough in the lip sync playoffs to make it to the top two, so clearly has some momentum behind her. This was more evenly matched than I thought it was going to be. I'll be fully real with you. Because PM at this point we kind of know she could do the tricks and stunts, but also PM has a really good way of embodying the songs. We saw that in the previous week prior when she did the Sarah McLachlan lip sync. Like she can be dramatic if she needs to be. So she's really good about matching the energies for the song. Her energy this lip sync was a little
Wait,
bit
wait,
more.
wait, wait. That's not true. She totally she won a lip sync where she lost her first lip sync in the lip sync slayoff. She did not do the right energy for the Celine Dion song at all. So let's be fair. Like she sometimes does, but sometimes she totally misjudges.
Every other lip sync that she's done, she has. Yes, she exactly.
Okay.
But in this one, I mean, it's the kind of thing where I didn't think she was as focused on here. I thought some of the moves, some of the spins were just kind of a little bit maybe offbeat, whatever. But she still had more focal energy than Saltina did. But I love that they came together. They looked
Yep.
at mirrors together. Like there was a couple collaborative moments on there. And overall, Saltina was giving you the face that you need for this kind of lip sync too, to the point where by the time it ended, I truly didn't know how they were going to break. I genuinely didn't know. In my mind, I thought this was going to be a producer thing where, like, oh, clearly someone who won a challenge, someone who hasn't won a challenge. It made sense to me. I saw how it was going to break. But what did you think of this lip sync? I'm so curious.
So I thought it was only close because of one reason where there was a time where Saltina's wig, like her ponytail, sort of
Hmm.
like she had to like not she didn't stop, but she had to
Right.
adjust it during it. And I always feel those in such a short 2 minutes or 90 seconds. That's a ding. That's like a if
Yeah, yeah.
where a judge is gonna go like wait. Um I like the queens. uh I don't know if the queens thought this, but The Queens did not think that PM won. They thought Saltina won. I thought PM was way too frenetic for the song. I thought she was just all over the place,
Denali
and
Part 2, Denali v
she just
Ginger Minge Part 2.
it was not the song is energetic and it's whatever, but she literally was, I just wrote frenetic. Like she's just doing everything everywhere, going back and forth. And I thought Saltina was just a bit more controlled and a bit better. She landed weirdly at the end. Like she sort of like didn't know how to like end the beat to the song. But all you need to know is the reaction from the queens in the back. And they were not putting on because they did it literally all at the same time. They were gagged. They thought PM was going home. And maybe they thought because it was the third time, or maybe it was because of the lip sync. And from the back to them, it looked like Saltina had won. But Saltina wasn't freaked out about it. I thought she was pretty cool and calm and sort of collected. Or am I wrong? Did you disagree?
I thought she put on a brave face, but I felt like she was getting Crystal Forever PR mode a little bit because she was like, rats. She walks off stage, she does a fart noise. Like there was just a little bit of bitterness behind her thing. I thought she had a nice facade, but I thought she was a little bit upset there. What surprised me more than anything with this decision, Greg, is that I think we all know she was cast on the season because she had a large social following that she could bring onto the show.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I thought, especially after her win in that terrible improv challenge in episode 2, which Greg and I, if you heard our episode, we don't really agree with. I thought that they were just going to hand her the season and an easy walk to the top 4. So
Yeah.
for her to be eliminated like this was kind of shocking. I did not think it was even possible for it to happen, and that kind of low key. I'm not gonna even gonna lie here. You may disagree with how the lip sync played out with who it was. I low key kind of respect this show for being so bold to make a move like this. Like Saltina wasn't my personal favorite queen or anything, but I thought she had front runner top 4 energy all over her. I was pleasantly surprised that this didn't work out the way it did. I just at least that's what I thought.
I mean, I'm frustrated because I don't think PM should have gotten this far. And I also feel like would rather have seen Velma Jones or um, Maya
Maya Fox.
Fox get further. I My take on it is that the producers in Brooklyn had seen enough of Saltina to know like there's nothing else besides this here that's
Hmm.
going to surprise us. And I think they basically took it as, and also her energy in the workroom may have just started to get a little grating, like on
Mm.
some of the other queens. We don't know. We're only watching it from the screen. Um, but I will remember, like I do remember, just for comparison's sake, I did a set visit once for All Stars 10. I was writing
Hmm.
a story for the LA Times, and I got to go behind the mirror message, like when your mirror, and they were recording. It was the final episode. I actually knew the top 4 of All Stars 10 for like 9 months before it ever got there, and I had to sign $100,000 NDA not to say anything to my friends or anything. And they cut out of that season how rough Eureka was on Aquaria. Like she was really like hardcore on her, and they cut it out of the edit. And I was there and I was watching it. And I kept waiting when I watched the season for this because the producers were talking about it, that how rough Eureka had been to her and that they thought it was a dramatic filled season. And then they got in the editing room and changed their minds and decided to sort of pull that thread out, because I think that was also the Vixen. There was so much
Hmm.
negativity in the beginning. They
Right.
were like, we need to clean this up. And I sort of feel like this feels like one of those scenarios. Like, I'm not saying Saltina is negative, but I just feel like the vibes in the workroom may not have been great. And especially when they were competing as opposed to working on challenges. So it's a little guessing here. And I'm sure, listen,
Hmm.
Saltina, if you want to comment and say, no, everybody loved me, everything was great. Like,
worldwideteapodcast at gmail.com,
yeah, let
Saltina.
us know.
Yeah.
I'm just making a jump, but that's the one of the reasons to me. I'm like, oh, this is why they let her. This is why they sent her home versus PM.
Yeah.
Is that also, if they sent PM home, there's no more Vancouver Queens. It's all Toronto. In fact, it's Toronto and Sammy. And at least now they've got one more episode where more of the country's repped. So I mean, it's a small
Mm.
win, but c'est la vie. But that's my take. Anything else you want to add about the luxurious run of Saltina Shaker?
Not about her, not necessarily. I wish her well in all her TikTok success. You are both influencers now, so obviously you two are going to
Oh
be
yeah.
besties. So make sure you friend each other. But the other thing is that this is there is a feeling that I think PM will win whatever next week's four-part challenge is, just because we've seen this kind of narrative happen before, where there's some sort of outsider queen who does moderately well, but makes it to the end before they get to the finale. We've seen it with like Miss Cracker and like kind of sort of with Near Enough, and like there's been a couple other instances in which they will hold off and maybe a queen who reaches the top four. They'll give her like one last win before actually entering the top four. That may or may not happen. I really thought PM was going to go home because it was Design Challenge week, but who knows? All I could say is that I am pretty confident that Eboni and Van Goth are going to be in our top two. I think that's undisputed. Uh, Outside of that, I don't know. Sammy and Caramilk and PM. PM seems likely to go, but I think it's between those three. Any one of them can drop out at this point. We will see. But I don't know who's going to win the season, but
And as we find out in the spoiler, the
mhm.
teaser preview for next week, it is a four separate challenges in one challenge next week, which I'm trying to wrap my head around. I'm not. Have they done this before? But I don't. I'm not really sure what it means.
Right, because they've done like, oh, by the way, you have to have your finale runway and do a rap verse for the song and things. There's been things like that before, but not a four distinct challenges kind of thing. Like that part, I'm so confused as to what they consist of. So
Yeah,
we'll
and they
see.
do, and they do tease it as the biggest shakeup of the season, so it can't be easy. So I'm super curious to see what it's going to be. But you're right, any of those three could drop out. But more importantly, after this episode, who do you think is winning Canada's Drag Race season six, Evan?
I think one of the challenges will just be them holding up UK7 queens and they have to guess which ones are friends. I think that's probably going to be one of the challenges that's going to be there.
That'd be
I got to
so
be on.
fun.
I know, like in my heart, I think Eboni has proven that she deserves it, but like for all her contentious attitude, it feels like it's going to go to Van Goth. And I'm trying to think that if this ultimately does go to Van Goth, have they had a winner quite like her? And I'm thinking no, they've not really had a winner of Van Goth's nature or stature so far in this season. So that could be very interesting if that's how it ends up breaking. That's I feel like it's Van Gogh's to lose at least at this point.
Evan, I don't know if they've had a US winner like this since Violet.
Yeah,
But even Violet was sassy. Violet wasn't like this. Also,
right.
Violet was getting attacked. Violet thought she was getting attacked by Ginger and Kennedy her entire season. There's a difference.
Correct. Hmm.
So Violet wasn't being aggressive. She was being defensive back, and it came across as being bitchy.
Hmm.
I I'm trying to think of all the international season. I guess Sethless. I guess
Coco,
Sethless and All
like I
Star
don't know. Right, yeah.
was Coco, I guess, was sort of bitchy, but I thought it was fun. Bitch, I was
Right.
Coco hard. Was Coco mean to any? Like, was she?
She wasn't mean so much as she was just stern and just like would not
Yeah,
take shit. So like that's kind of the closest vibe I can think, but like even then that's kind of like as you can see we're just kind of
I
pulling
don't.
at
I just they don't crown
cat
winners
cat
like that.
like I
Oh,
don't know,
Cat
yeah.
Cat. You know
Yeah.
what? I think that's the no. I think that's the closest.
Yeah.
I think that might be the closest. I think that might be the closest. I still think Ebony's going to win.
Yeah.
I still my gut says that Ebony will win, but we'll find out. Maybe I'm
We'll find
wrong.
out. We don't
We'll find
know.
out.
And as always, you know where we're going to be covering all of that right here on Worldwide Tea. So if you haven't already, give us a follow. Please leave us a review on the Apple and Spotify and all the other places because reviews like that really help elevate the show. Some of you have already done that, and we very much appreciate it. Leave comments in the YouTube. Follow us on all the socials where you can, on the Instagram, on the Worldwide Blue Sky, and all that stuff. But otherwise, Greg, next week we will come right back into the more Canada. I think we might even have a new Meet the Queens by then.
We
We'll
do on
see.
the
We
8th.
will. Exactly. UK versus the world season three. Oh boy. Y'all aren't ready. We aren't ready, quite frankly. But it's
Oh,
gonna be great. Greg, please get well soon. Thank you so much. Happy New Year to you, all the way straight up. And from us to you, goodbye. All right, take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye bye.